Hey guys, Sasha here. So I've posted that I'm running a 30-day minimalist challenge, and I thought I would come on first to give you an intro to my experience and what it's done in my life. Like I said before in an earlier post, minimalism isn't just a design standard, which of course it is, which I've incorporated into my life. And it isn't just about art, which I also love minimalist art. But it's more about minimizing our exposure to a lot of different things that can create stress and anxiety and depression. And that runs from things at work, your habits at work, the way you use your phone, the way you cook, the way you dress, and just how you typically could run your day. And every facet of our life is impacted by that. And I've been working in anxiety and stress and panic disorder and depression for a long time, working on my own issues as well as going through my education to be able to serve others. And what I really found is that for people that suffer with anxiety and depression especially, it allows us, some of the facets of minimalism allow us to feel more in control and less overwhelmed, let's say, especially in my case. Over 10 years ago, I guess probably in 2010, maybe even before that, I really started to recognize the impacts of my work-life imbalance and the level of my anxiety, not to mention, whatever the friends you keep and the partying you do. And I realized that I had to make a change. So I started practicing more yoga and went and did a certification, and I was going like 6 days a week and meditating, and I was vegan at the time, but I went high raw. I was doing everything that I possibly could that I thought I could do in order to feel less traumatized and triggered by basically anything that could happen in a day. And unfortunately, I didn't really understand how much the outside world impacted me. And I didn't understand maybe that I was a highly sensitive person, and I really felt over the top crazy sometimes. I thought it was my hormones out of whack. I followed every hormone protocol there was. And none of that did anything. Now, I will say that the job I had at the time was high stress. The relationship I had at the time was high stress. And the lifestyle I had at the time created stress because, we were out on the town every night. You're in your 20s and early 30s. And so I just decided when I had a big life change that I was really going to change my life. And before then, you have to know that I prepared most of my food at home. I was a master herbalist way back then. I was making my own medicines. I was going to yoga. I was going to the gym. I was hiking. I was, meditating. I was doing all of these things. But what I came to find was that when too many things were going on at once, when I had too many things even just in front of me in my house, I was so overstimulated that I was constantly on edge. And so in 2012, I made a move from Vancouver to Calgary. And it was then that I decided, because at that point I was getting divorced or almost divorced. And I left everything behind except for my 2 dogs. I sold everything and left everything to my ex-husband. I didn't want to fight about anything. I just said, forget it, you keep it. And right then and there, I felt this huge surge of relief. I have nothing. I need nothing. I'm just going to drive, pick up my dogs and drive to Alberta, which I did. I rented a little basement suite. I bought myself a bed, a table and a couple of chairs, a nice, something I liked secondhand that was really nice. Those tulip chairs from the 60s. And I had a little yard. I had a roommate upstairs in the other part of the house. And that was that. I moved about 18 times in Vancouver before that, no joke. From the time I moved out when I was 17 to the time I left Vancouver, I moved 18 times. And somehow it was the move over the provincial border where I really started to realize oh my God, I have a motorcycle, which is the only vehicle I brought with me that I had to ship. And just random little things that, I kept in boxes that I just felt like I couldn't let go of. And then I moved to Calgary. We bought a house. We bought a lot of things. We didn't buy them with debt other than the acreage that we owned. We couldn't buy the mortgage outright. I think, it was an $800,000 acreage. We moved out into the mountains, and life became about hiking and camping and adventuring and just, being around home and also working. And so things really got simplified then. We made most of our meals at home. Everything got simplified, but there was still a lot of crap. And then life changed again when the marketplace we worked in crashed, and we needed to move again, and we moved to the United States. But this time we packed up a Jeep, a U-Haul, 2 dogs, and drove clear across Canada and then headed south for Pittsburgh with what I thought was almost everything we really needed. And this U-Haul is just like one of those tiny not even as big as a horse trailer ones. And we went to a rental house in a really sketchy neighborhood, and it kind of felt okay to not have much. We went to IKEA, picked up a few things, and that was that. But along the way, we had to use storage spaces because we could just not let go of certain things. And so finally we shipped stuff from Canada to the US, and we start going through all these boxes after like a $4,000 shipment. And there were like boxes with crumpled up packing paper inside of them, like things that I just never really checked into. And I was disgusted with myself then, that I just like what I couldn't let go of, that I totally could have let go of because I hadn't seen it in a year, and then when we were in Pittsburgh, things in business weren't going that great. So then it became, let's downsize and move into a bus. Things happened, and we were exposed to that lifestyle. And so we did. And so we moved into 300 square feet. It was super liberating. Everything we needed was stored under the bus. But again, we had a storage space with a bunch of shit. And when it came time to leave because of COVID, and we went to sell everything, the overwhelm that we had to experience driving from like San Antonio, Texas, all the way back up to Pittsburgh to clear out this frickin' storage space, repack it, was huge. And we were able to really pare down a lot then, but then we still had a storage space. And so we came to Nicaragua early, and we sat here for well over a year before we even considered bringing that stuff in. And in the meantime, once again, we had nothing. We were just renting. And it started to feel really good over the last couple of years to have nothing and really have nothing in front of you. I recognized once I was here and once we were importing the rest of our stuff here, which I was sore about, that I really have a desire to be unencumbered by anything. I don't really want to own anything. It's really hard for me even to buy a stick of furniture these days, even though, we have this resort here and you need stuff. I really felt like when this construction started that I needed to embrace that minimalist lifestyle once again and really go through all the steps this time. And so maybe one day I'll take you for a tour around the house when it's done. But from the way that I put things out in front of me in the world, to the way that I let things come into my world from, digital media and screens and whatever, things have changed a lot. And now I find that I can be super chill for most of a day as long as I'm not overstimulated. And it also has a great impact on the anxiety that you feel on your level of responsibility when you have a lot of shit that you need to protect, maintain. That's from pets to cars to real property. It's a lot of responsibility. And when you change your lifestyle by not going out and being super social, you find a lot of cool things to do, a lot of time to put your focus on hobbies that you really enjoy, hone skills that mean something to you, which we're going to talk about in the course. It's just, your self-worth and your reason for being around all of a sudden becomes apparent. And I think when you're busy being out there, doing all the things and being constantly stimulated, you're just kind of dumbed down and dulled down to this place where you don't maybe ask that question or even feel much of anything anymore. So it's this reawakening when you have the space. And so now I feel like it is a great time for me to be able to sit here while I'm in it and doing it and living it, and shed some light on what this lifestyle is and how it works for those of you who are really interested in zenning out. So starting November 1st, I'm going to start this minimalist challenge. I might run it routinely. I don't know. It's going to be guided. It's going to be simple. It's going to be all encompassing, but basically just a toe in the water for you to try out the minimalist techniques in various areas of your life. So if you're interested, keep following my socials. The whole program will be run on sets of videos for each week, and that'll all roll out digitally. If you want to get on the waiting list, please DM me and I will get you on there and get you all set up. It's a digital classroom that you have login access to for free. And the course itself is $20 US by Venmo or PayPal. So welcome to my world. This is going to be a cool trip. I'm really excited to share a lot of tips and techniques with you, and I hope they work for you too. I know they will if you stick to them. So I'm going to go have a client call and hope to share all this information with you all very soon. Take care.